As far as television markets go, Peoria is considered a reputable force. But how does television, particularly local coverage, vary in a large market, especially when considering the differences between smaller and large markets? Joining me today is Mr. Jim Garrett, the assignment editor for KARE-TV in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mr. Garrett is a 1984 Bradley alumnus and is back to visit us. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Garrett.
Thank you.
Now, I'm sure you began in a smaller market, much smaller than Minneapolis. I've heard you began in Peoria. Can you tell us about any of the differences you've encountered as you changed market size?
Peoria is a unique small market because it's a very competitive small market with the three major affiliates here. So they handle coverage about the same as the major markets do, but they have less toys and less news to cover. If you're looking at Minneapolis-St. Paul, whereas you have a major labor strike here, a labor strike in Minneapolis and St. Paul, unless it would be like with Northwest Airlines or some major hub out of there, it doesn't receive nearly the amount of publicity that you get down here. But they have satellite trucks, we use helicopters, a variety of things that aren't available to the smaller markets. And you have to use those sometimes in dealing with the coverage that we do. But the coverage is roughly the same on the stories that they have.
What influences your decision to run a story? Is it more important to cover local news, national news, international news?
There's a lot of places that people can turn to now for national news. We look at it that we have to include some national news because we don't know if anybody viewing our programs has seen anything on it. But we stick to local news or trends. KARE-TV, which is where I work at, is the NBC affiliate in Minneapolis. And it is one of the top stations in the country to go for the demographics, which in our case is the women and men 25 to 54. So the stories that we pick, we hope will interest and entertain that viewing audience, which then in turn goes to what our advertisers are looking for. So the stories that we will pick, we may not choose a story that would be for a child unless we were thinking that it's the parents. Trying to think of an example, this Beanie Babies craze. You know, we've had a number of stores receive them in, and people just line up fighting like they used to be with the Cabbage Patch dolls.
Yes.
Exactly. And so we had to look at that, and you have the parents doing the fighting. Well, it is something that will affect and impact our viewership, so we take a look at it that way.
Interesting. In your opinion, what's the most important news value? Would it be timeliness or proximity? Or
it has to be timely, and it has to be interesting. I go against the grain of most with the TV journalists. I think that an individual to get the best news coverage needs to incorporate everything. TV can give you up to the minute, can give you pictures of what's going on, but doesn't have the time to go in depth as much as they probably would like to. So if you combine that with newspaper coverage, where they can go into a little bit more in depth, you use that and you get a very well-rounded view of what's going on. And the radio gives you, if you don't have access to a TV, has the same thing, you just don't have the pictures. So if you accommodate all three of those, then you're going to have as best of information that's out there of a particular newscast. So in our particular medium, we have to be timely with what's going on. If it happened 3 or 4 days ago, they probably found out about it someplace else.
Do you think the internet has affected that a lot?
Yeah, it has. Our station is not as equipped with the internet as I'd like it to be. We are owned by Garrott, which owns USA Today, which is highly into internet and computer use. But from their television standpoint, they are looking at the small amount of numbers of people who have access to internet, and so they don't consider it as part of the market force. Our newsroom disagrees. We see every day that the internet is improving, and we do stories on the internet and on computer use all the time. So I disagree with the way our station is going with that, because we need to do more with it.
Okay. Just one more question. How would you rate the local evening news with the new television system of rating?
I don't know if I could give it a rating. I think that they've improved dramatically with how they view and what they show. NBC, not just because I work for them, but I have been impressed with the way NBC has changed around, going away from showing just snapshots of dead bodies all over the world to looking at issues and looking at people, and that's what research is showing you that people are interested in seeing more of.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to visit with us. Have a safe trip back to Minneapolis. We'll be right back after this break.